Beneath one of China's busiest coastal cities, something massive is being carved out of sight, and yet, no skyline or cranes are rising above it. Engineers are building one of the largest undersea road tunnels ever attempted. It stretches under the seabed, cutting through layers of rock and water, linking parts of the city in ways that weren't possible before. But this isn't really about moving cars from one side to another. It's about how it's done. The scale of the tunnel, the precision required to build it underwater, and the method used to keep it stable under pressure that most structures never face. So how do you build something this massive under the sea? And why are projects like this being pushed forward so fast? Our journey begins in Shenzhen, one of China's most futuristic cities. Here, under the waters of Qianhai Bay, lies the Mawan Undersea Tunnel, a brand new highway tunnel that opened to traffic on January 21st, 2025. At first glance, Mawan might seem like just another roadway, but it holds a national record. This is the largest diameter undersea tunnel ever built in China, and remarkably, it's Shenzhen's first tunnel beneath the sea. To picture its size, imagine a circular tunnel bore wide enough to fit a 5-story building inside. That's the scale we're talking about. The tunnel's bore measures 15.5 meters across, making it an absolute behemoth. It carries a 2-way, 6-lane expressway hidden below the harbor, allowing traffic to hurtle through at 80 kilometers per hour as ships sail peacefully above. An enormous tunnel boring machine built for the Mawan Undersea Tunnel. Its cutter head spans 15.53 meters. This custom-built boring machine, weighing over 4,600 tons, it was designed specifically to chew through the tough seabed geology of Qianhai Bay. Building the Mawan Tunnel required extraordinary engineering innovation. The ground beneath the bay presented a wildly complex mix of conditions. Nearly 1/3 of the bore had to cut through hard, granite-like rock, with some formations reaching strengths of up to 193 megapascals, pushing the cutting tools to their limits. At the same time, other sections of the route were much softer and more uneven. This sharp contrast in geology meant the tunnel boring machine risked tilting off course if it moved from hard rock into soft ground too quickly. And all of this was happening 40 meters underwater, under immense pressure equivalent to what a diver would feel at a depth of 100 meters in the ocean. Given these challenges, moving forward with construction was no easy task. But the engineers quickly devised something that would blow the world's mind. The engineers in Shenzhen knew that a standard, off-the-shelf tunnel boring machine would not survive these conditions, so they commissioned a one-of-a-kind machine built specifically for this project called the Mawan Tunnel Boring Machine. This giant, 140-meter-long machine, also called the Undersea Steel Dragon by local media, moved forward day by day, carving a 2-kilometer subsea path and installing concrete tunnel segments behind it. With each push, it had to withstand half a megapascal of water pressure and resist the constant risk of flooding or ground collapse. Every few meters, crews had to pause and replace worn cutter discs, a necessary but dangerous task deep below ground. Yet despite the odds, when after years of struggle, the tunnel boring machine finally broke through to daylight, marking a major milestone for Shenzhen's first subsea tunnel. But a little farther from Shenzhen, another massive underwater project is underway, one that is even almost as ambitious and has left many wondering whether there is any limit to what Chinese engineers can do. Travel about 30 kilometers west of Shenzhen, and you enter the heart of the Pearl River Delta, a waterway separating cities like Guangzhou, Dongguan, Zhongshan, and the metropolis of Hong Kong and Macau. For decades, traveling across this delta meant long ferry rides or circuitous drives around the bay. Chinese planners saw this as an opportunity to push tunnel engineering even further. In October 2018, the world marveled at the Hong Kong to Zhuhai to Macao Bridge, a 55-kilometer combo of bridges and tunnels. It includes a 6.7-kilometer undersea tunnel that dips under a busy shipping lane, connecting artificial islands in the middle of the Pearl River estuary. At the time, that was one of the longest underwater highway tunnels on Earth, comparable in length to New York's Brooklyn Battery Tunnel, and built to withstand typhoons and ship collisions. Yet, China was not done. Another even more ambitious link was already underway just to the north. Far to the north, in the port city of Dalian, another record-breaking tunnel recently opened, this time under far harsher conditions. The Dalian Bay Undersea Tunnel, opened in May 1, 2023, is the first undersea road tunnel in northeast China. It stretches 5.1 kilometers under Dalian's Bay, connecting the downtown area with a developing zone across the water. This tunnel was about convenience, and it slashed a 1-hour drive around the bay down to a 5-minute hop straight under it. It was also a major technological leap for Chinese engineers. Unlike the shallow, warm waters of the south, Dalian Bay freezes in winter and reaches frigid temperatures of -20 degrees Celsius. Building a tunnel here meant dealing with ice-cold water and a seabed full of hard rock. In fact, engineers found the geology under Dalian Bay even more complex than what they'd encountered further south near Hong Kong. They had to perform precision underwater blasting, essentially setting off controlled explosions under the sea to break apart subsea boulders that lay in the tunnel's path. Blasting under the ocean without disturbing the marine environment or causing collapses was an enormous challenge in itself. Then came the task of laying a stable foundation for the tunnel's prefabricated segments on the seafloor. Traditional methods involve driving piles into the seabed to level it, but in Dalian's case, that proved risky because the cracked rock and silt could destabilize if disturbed. The project's engineers came up with a novel solution, a full floating foundation technique. Instead of hammering down piles, they gently leveled the seabed using specialized ships that poured a gravel bed in a controlled way, letting the gravel settle almost naturally to form a smooth base for each tunnel section. It was like smoothing sand underwater without heavy supports to cradle a 60,000-ton concrete tube. Through 4 bitter winters and numerous technical hurdles, the Dalian Bay Tunnel team persisted and succeeded. You might think nothing more extraordinary could be done, but China's undersea tunneling boom is not confined to the prosperous Dalian Bay region. On June 30, 2024, China opened the Shenzhen to Zhongshan Link, a massive bridge and tunnel project that surpassed even the Hong Kong to Zhuhai to Macau route in many respects. Spanning 24 kilometers across the Pearl River estuary, the link connects the city of Shenzhen on the eastern bank with Zhongshan on the western bank. It is a chain of structure, but a chain of them. On each end, long viaducts stretch out over the sea from the shore to reach a pair of man-made islands. Between those 2 artificial islands lies the jewel of the project, a 5,035-meter undersea tunnel carrying a major expressway beneath busy shipping lanes. Driving through this tunnel is extraordinary. On 8 traffic lanes run through a brightly lit tube deep beneath the water. Special LED lighting lines the tunnel walls, capable of changing color to signal traffic conditions or guide drivers during an emergency evacuation. The highway even features something never seen before, the world's first underwater highway interchange, essentially an undersea junction where drivers can switch routes, complete with an exit ramp that rises underwater toward a connection point. It is a true first in highway design, as if a cloverleaf interchange had been built on the ocean floor. The Shenzhen-Zhongshan Tunnel itself was built in a completely different way from Shenzhen's Mawan Board Tunnel. Instead of drilling through rock, engineers here used the immersed tube method. They prefabricated enormous rectangular tunnel segments, and each longer than a football field and weighing as much as an aircraft carrier, then floated them out to sea. One by one, these giant hollow sections were slowly lowered into a dredged trench on the seabed between the artificial islands. Divers and engineers aligned each segment with the next, sealing them together underwater to form a continuous tunnel. The result is an undersea tunnel wide enough for 8 lanes of traffic, designed so efficiently that what was once a 2-hour detour around the delta is now a 30-minute drive across it. Chinese media proudly reported that the link broke 10 world engineering records, including the longest 8-lane immersed tunnel in the world and the widest immersed tube segments ever cast.